In the shadowy annals of history, there are few tales as enthralling and tragic as that of Anne Boleyn. A woman of ambition, intelligence, and beauty, Anne was not just a queen but a force that changed the course of England forever. This is her story. Anne Boleyn was born sometime around 1501 in Blickling Hall, Norfolk, or possibly Hever Castle in Kent. The exact date of her birth remains a mystery, as elusive as the woman herself. She was the daughter of Thomas Boleyn, a skilled diplomat and courtier, and Elizabeth Howard, a member of one of England's most distinguished families. Anne's lineage placed her among the nobility, but it was her sharp mind and captivating charm that would distinguish her. From an early age, Anne's path was unlike that of most women of her time. She was sent to the Netherlands and later to France, where she became a lady-in-waiting to Queen Claude. Immersed in the sophistication of the European courts, Anne acquired a deep understanding of diplomacy, culture, and the arts. She became fluent in French, learned to dance and play music, and developed a keen intellect skills that would set her apart when she returned to England. In 1522, Anne returned to England, stepping into the glittering world of King Henry VIII's court. She became a lady-in-waiting to Queen Catherine of Aragon, but Anne was no ordinary courtier. Her vivacity, intelligence, and distinctive appearance with her dark eyes and auburn hair made her a striking figure. It wasn't long before whispers of her charm began to circulate. Among those captivated by Anne was none other than King Henry VIII himself. At the time, Henry was married to Catherine of Aragon, a devout queen who had been his partner for over 20 years. Their union, however, was troubled. Catherine had failed to provide Henry with a male heir, and the king's frustration grew. When Anne entered the scene, she became a symbol of hope and renewal for the king, but Anne's response would alter the course of his reign. Anne was not like her sister Mary, who had previously been one of Henry's mistresses. She refused to become another fleeting dalliance. Instead, Anne set her sights higher. She would accept nothing less than the crown itself. Her refusal only deepened Henry's obsession, and soon, he began plotting a way to make her his queen. Henry's desire to marry Anne set in motion a chain of events that would forever change England. Denied an annulment by the Pope, Henry broke with the Roman Catholic Church, declaring himself the supreme head of the Church of England. This bold move allowed him to dissolve his marriage to Catherine and wed Anne in 1533. For Catherine, it was a devastating betrayal. She was cast aside, stripped of her title, and forced to live in isolation. But it was a triumph for Anne, but it came at a cost. But she didn't know this. Anne's coronation was a spectacle of grandeur, a moment that marked her ascent to power. Shortly after, she gave birth to a daughter, Elizabeth. While Anne and Henry celebrated the arrival of their child, others at court whispered with disappointment. Elizabeth was not the male heir Henry so desperately sought. As queen, Anne wielded considerable influence. She championed religious reform, supporting the spread of Protestantism. But her strong-willed nature and sharp tongue made her many enemies. She clashed with the king's advisors and alienated factions at court. Henry's once fiery passion for Anne began to cool. Anne's position became increasingly precarious. She suffered several miscarriages, each one eroding Henry's hopes for a male heir. Meanwhile, a new figure emerged, Jane Seymour, a demure and seemingly compliant lady-in-waiting who caught Henry's eye. And like Anne, Jane was quiet and submissive, embodying everything Anne was not. Henry began to distance himself from Anne, and their once intense relationship turned cold. For Anne, the king's rejection was devastating. She had sacrificed everything to be with him: her reputation, her family's security, and even her own dignity. To see Henry now lavishing his attention on another woman was a cruel twist of fate. But Henry's coldness toward Anne wasn't merely personal, it was political. He needed a way to rid himself of his queen without igniting scandal. And this was where Thomas Cromwell, the king's chief minister, who masterminded a plot to bring Anne down, came in. Fearing for his own position and aligning with Anne's many enemies, Cromwell fabricated charges of adultery, incest, and treason. The accusations were as sensational as they were unfounded, but they served their purpose. In May 1536, Anne was arrested on charges of adultery, incest, and treason. The accusations were shockingly scandalous and, by most accounts, entirely fabricated. Her trial was a foregone conclusion. The once powerful queen was now at the mercy of a court that sought her destruction, and faced her trial with remarkable composure. She denied the charges with dignity, maintaining her innocence until the end. But the court, stacked with her enemies and loyal to the king, had already made its decision. Anne was found guilty, and her fate was sealed. In the days leading up to her execution, Anne displayed a calm resolve that astonished even her jailers. She spent her final hours in prayer and contemplation, writing letters to Henry and making arrangements for her daughter. Her only hope was that Elizabeth would be protected, and spent her final days imprisoned in the Tower of London. On May 19, 1536, she faced her fate with remarkable courage. She addressed the crowd with dignity, refusing to denounce Henry and expressing hope for the future of her daughter, Elizabeth. With a single stroke of the executioner's sword, Anne's life came to an end. Although Anne's life ended in tragedy, her legacy lived on. Her daughter, Elizabeth I, would become one of England's greatest monarchs, ushering in a golden age of prosperity and cultural achievement. Anne Boleyn's story is one of ambition, love, betrayal, and resilience. She remains an enduring figure in history, a woman who dared to challenge the conventions of her time. Though vilified and maligned during her lifetime, Anne Boleyn has been re-evaluated by history as a trailblazer woman who dared to challenge the norms of her time and paid the ultimate price for it. Her story remains a powerful testament to the perils of ambition, the complexities of power, and the enduring strength of a mother's legacy. Anne Boleyn's life offers powerful lessons for young women about ambition, self-worth, and resilience. As one of the most educated women of her time, Anne used her intelligence and charm to navigate the Tudor court, rising to the position of queen. Her story teaches the importance of valuing education and knowing your worth. When pursued by King Henry VIII, Anne set boundaries and refused to be his mistress, showing the power of self-respect and holding firm to one's standards in relationships. However, Anne's ambition, while inspiring, also led to her downfall in the cutthroat world of court politics. Her inability to produce a male heir and her bold personality made her vulnerable to enemies who falsely accused her of adultery, incest, and treason. Despite the devastating accusations and her tragic fate, Anne faced her trial and execution with remarkable composure, leaving a lesson in grace under pressure. Her life warns against toxic relationships, power imbalances, and the destructive nature of envy and gossip, which ultimately sealed her tragic end. Anne's lasting legacy lies in the profound influence she had on English history. She played a key role in the Reformation and gave birth to Elizabeth I, one of England's greatest monarchs. Her story inspires women to pursue their dreams boldly while remaining aware of the risks that come with ambition. Above all, Anne's resilience and unwavering dignity remind us to face life's challenges with courage and strive to leave a meaningful impact on the world. Thanks for tuning into the past. Don't forget to subscribe and join us next time for more stories that shaped our world.